Hello, you guys. How are you all? Thank you guys for being here. It's a late night one here, but I wanted to be able to stop in and support some of my friends who were live tonight, Melissa and Amber. And then also, Bendy was supposed to go live, but she will be doing that soon. But anyway, so yeah, that's why we're doing the late time. Let me say hello to you guys. Hey, Roro. Hey, Cement Shoes. Hey, Mayla's mom. Hey, Sherry. Hey, Jamie. Hey, Christina. Hippie Chick. Adrian. Nana Banana. Hey, Riley. Hey, Kimberly. Mayla's mom. Bendy. Nana Banana. I think I might say that. Con Artist. Hey, Crystal. Thank you for coming by. You guys, that's Dylan's sister. Hey, Natasha. Hey, Teacup. Hey, Bendy. Melly Mel. So those of you guys who don't know, I'm sure most of you know if you're here, you've probably seen it. Okay, so this is how it went down. Nice to meet you, Crystal. I ordered the first book, The Cell Next Door, and we were going to do a read-through with commentary and just hang out, which we did. And in that live, Jamie came into the chat, and she's a friend of Dylan's, and then she reached out to me and they ended up coming on for an interview. I got the second book. And during all of that, Dylan had sent me like a bunch of different stuff to show, proof for what he was talking about. Stuff from Amazon about the book being pulled, letters from Cindy, letters from Chris, all this different stuff. And he said that we could look at it. So I figured, why don't we just hang out during a live and kind of read through some of this? I'm going to show you some of these things. I don't think they've ever been published anywhere. I'm pretty certain of that. I think one might have been read on another channel, that Sweet Child of Mine entry we read the other day. That's what I was told. But otherwise, it's all new stuff. It's going to be letters from Chris to Dylan. The letter that Cheryln Cadle sent Chris, well, one page of it. We're going to watch a clip of her on Crime Talk. I got a lot of things I want to do. We're just going to hang out and kind of go through it all together. So that's the plan. Hey, Heaven. Hey, Wolfie. Tess. You guys, send Tess some happy birthday love and wishes. She's one of my bestest friends. I love her so much. And today's her birthday. And it's also Shark Week, so she's happy. Hey, Bendy. Hey, Neat. So yeah, that's the plan. But okay, so Dylan had agreed to come back on and answer more questions. And he even said that he would come tonight at the beginning of the show. But I had asked him, I said, if people have more questions, I will ask for them to leave them in the comments after the live. And we can do that in a couple days. And maybe you could just write up an explanation for me what we're going to be looking at, where it came from, that kind of stuff. So he did send me... I can upload it, so I'm just going to upload the pictures of what he said. I didn't have it uploaded yet. And I do know that he wrote and said there was 2 typos. So at one point it says I instead of he, and I'll point that out. And then one that says Christ instead of Krista. So, ooh, awesome, Jamie. Jamie will write down questions. So that's the plan. Now I just got to get it to load through. But what are you guys up to? Mystic Virgo, his is nothing violent. They're all non-violent. They're, things with drugs and driving without a license and stuff like that. Hey, Seek Justice. Hey, Clicker. Well, hold on. I messed up. Look at me. But like I said, this is just going to be a laid-back thing anyways, so... There we go. Hey, Debbie. That's okay. We're just getting started. Nonviolent victimless crimes. In my worst Tisha singing voice. You guys, I'm drinking a Red Bull, and it's like 10:20. But they do something to my brain. They, help me clear my head. They don't keep me up. I could drink coffee and go to sleep. So... Hey, Shane. Tomorrow's Friday. I can't wait to be off for the weekend. Oh, guess what? We ordered another month of calls. So I should have even asked Bentley or Ben. Bindi before I said anything here, which I had said something on my Patreon, but yeah, coffee and sleep, same thing. Hey, Colada Hope. I have the strawberry apricot Red Bull. Oh my gosh, it's so delicious. But okay, I think these loaded now. Angie, oh my gosh. Angie, thank you. That is so freaking sweet and generous. Thank you. After you sent me all those yummy snacks, thank you so much. In the pretty dress. I feel like I'm back in the original true crime days. Watts was my introduction. I've been looking forward to your live tonight. I love that, Mariah. I feel the same way. It's what brought me to you, like live YouTube as well. So I'm glad you guys are here. And we're going to go all the way back here in a second because we are going to watch a quick interview with Cheryln Cadle and Scott Reich from Crime Talk. There's a question from Unravel. That's a really great question. Dylan and or Chris are aware that some think Ellie and others are involved. Hey, Melissa. You know what? I can see it. It's a little pretty crescent moon, isn't it? There's a cloud in front of it, so it's hard for me to see. But I know some people thought there was like a snoring dog in behind me the other night. There is no snoring dog. It's crickets and all that stuff. So, you know, we're going to have to deal with it. If it's bothersome, I do apologize. Clicker, thank you for being a member for 9 months. Hey, y'all. Good to see y'all. Headed back to the frigid in tomorrow. Angie, that was so freaking sweet. Thank you. Yes, Barbara, I'm getting to it right now. But first, I was waiting because I was trying to load what Dylan said about these letters because I think we should start there. So there's a couple typos in this first part. It says, hi, everybody. I'm taking a brief rest from writing part 3 in the series most of you have been reading. I should have it published in a few weeks, possibly earlier. I gave Allie some letters to show y'all. One from Chris to me, February 6, 2021, when I was in general population at Dodge. He was reassuring me about things when he was in general population at Dodge. He was reassuring me about things like my legal battles and women like my ex Krista, who was after fame and chose her path that was short-lived. He gave me some spiritual insight and let me know everything was going to be okay. The other letter is from Cadle, and I ended up with it a year after she sent it to him. He told me that she was a wolf in sheep's clothing. He said she came to minister and her plot was for pure evil. It's people like her that make our world a worse place. I am a real author. I frown upon plagiarism. Chris has been a big part in my life, and my time with him is only a simple few chapters in my life. This final book will give you the complete story of my time with Watts and... Hold on. The next page. By the way, these are his opinions, you know, as far as Cadle. My 7-month interview from him, The Cell Next Door, and the rest of the story. Allie and I have something for y'all on Saturday or possibly Sunday. I'll give you a glimpse into part 3 and answer any questions you have if you get them to Allie. I wish all of you the best and give you all my all, even from a jail cell. So what he's talking about is, like I said, he will come back on Saturday and answer any questions or whatever if there are more. So anyways, that is his explanation. So one of these is a letter from Chris to him in February of 2021. Another is Cadle's letter. I think we're going to start with that. And then we will go to the other ones because I want to watch the interview in between. So remember, Cheryln Cadle, you know, went and visited Chris several times. She went to the jail. They wrote letters and he wrote to her and she put it in her book. I mean, you can't deny what he said in those letters, right? They were communicating and he was opening up about his story. After the book came out, he tried to claim that, you know, she tricked him, told him that the book was going to be about him coming to God and that kind of stuff, but it wasn't, right? So she said, no, that's not true. I told him the truth the whole time. Who knows the true story of that? But just so you guys know, that's kind of the background. Hey, Christine, don't apologize. We're just getting started. Hey, Valerie. I personally hope Watts developed a toilet paper allergy. So I guess he claims that she lied about what her purpose was for the book. That's kind of the way I understand it. Oh, neat. Thank you for dang a year. Dang, girl. Thank you for being a member for a year and a mod and for all your help and all of that. Thank you so much. Excuse me, ma'am, but Scribble calls him Christopher. I miss you, Jen. Hey, Roberta. He sure did lie, Crystal said. Okay, so let me grab that next. Oh man, okay. Was anyone else out of power from that storm? I wasn't, but I had a friend that was. Okay, so dear Mr. Watts, this is the one from Cheryln, okay? Hello, my name is Cheryln Cadle, and I am writing to you to talk to you about your case. I have been following your story since the day it all happened. Let me just say, the crime was horrific, so I'm not writing you to tell you how wonderful you are or that I want to be pen pals. I have not always followed these sort of things, but seeing you on the front porch of your home that morning giving the interview, I knew you were in for quite a journey ahead. I have to tell you, the interview screamed guilty. I sense also by now you must have great remorse and probably confess to God all of the sins that have been committed. I know you are sentenced to prison for this, but I feel your life still holds some purpose. If you allow, I'm pure. God can still, I'm pure. I'm sure God can still use you to make a difference in other people's lives. I would love to tell the story of redemption, and I think in the long run it can help you. I think also it would help your family and Shanann's family for the truth to be totally told. So that's the only part we have, but it's really interesting to see that first letter. Not like this, and this isn't in the letter, so we don't know. Chris claimed that the book was going to be about him, like some about the case, but not really. It was going to be his story of like redemption, coming to God, being forgiven, changing his life, that kind of thing. She claims no, that's not the case. Uh-oh. I'm robotic. Okay, let me know if you guys can hear me now. I don't know what happened, and I apologize, and I was really on one, too. What in the world? You're good now. Go back to pure. We didn't hear anything after that. Oh, okay. Wow. Thank you, Bendy. So, I'm pure. I'm sure God could still use you to make a difference in other people's lives. I would love to tell your story of redemption. And I think in the long run, it can help you. I think also it would help your family and Shanann's family for the truth to be totally told. Well, I'm glad that I had to read that part again because it didn't sink in, the ending part. So here we see her say, because what I was saying just a second ago was Chris claims that the book was supposed to be about his journey to God. Cheryln claimed it wasn't. It was supposed to be to tell the truth of what happened that night, right? In this, we hear her say, I would love to tell your story of redemption. Yeah, I'm so glad that we read that again because it did not sink in to me at first, all of it. Sometimes I have to read something a couple times. Let me know if you guys are like that. Like the first time I read something, I'll catch most of it, like maybe 75%. Then I got to read it again. maybe even again to get it all. There you go. She did write him under the guise of God, religion, redemption. Yeah. I have recently visited Watts Island and I have so many questions. Is there a way we could have a deep dive? It would be great to chat with other members and, of course, Allie. You know what? We really could. And I could ask Jen, Amber, Melissa, all those girls were around criminality. That would be fun to kind of like, or interesting. I mean, to go back through the whole thing and kind of talk about it from the beginning. Hey, Pinche Becky. I need to read things a couple times. Yeah, there is no redemption arc for a child killer, right? Wow, that's pretty crazy, right? Okay, so let's go watch this together for a minute. Now, look, Cheryln Cadle, she did a lot of interviews. I just chose this one because of it was short, right? But she was also on Dr. Oz. I think he had her on twice. Hey, MK. Yeah, that would be interesting, Christine. I would enjoy that. It's a case that I don't think I'll ever be able to let go fully. And I don't know. It's, you know, some cases hit you harder than others. Some cases, yeah, I don't even have the words for it. I know you guys know what I mean, though. Thank you, Sandra. Oh, y'all don't want me. I'll just clown on it. Yes, we do, Bendy. Okay. Claudia, glad you're safe. I missed it. So, Claudia, I didn't mean to say that. Let me see. Hold on. I hope you're safe too, Claudia. And I did not see it. Oh, there we go. Only damage to my land. My oak, 60 foot or better, had the tops broke off. Yeah, I'm glad that you're okay. Amber talks about Watts like every now and then, like I don't know, once a week, once every couple weeks, something like that. Okay, so let's watch this together just to like go back and hear. This was 4 years ago, so this was one of her first. Matter of fact, look at the title. Is Chris Watts truly sorry? Letters from Christopher. So, for those of you who don't know, and you kind of heard what Dylan had to say about her being an author and that kind of stuff, when her book first came out, she had to take it down and redo it. Now, she had mimicked, it's not like she copied word for word from another book, but she had mimicked the story from another book that she had read about a person who reached out to an inmate and got their story, right? And she thought she used that idea to come up with her book. But it seemed like she took, like, you know, all the parts about Chris were unique to Chris. However, the bridge to get there was the same bridge, if that makes sense. Like, it was still very similar to the other book. So she had to take it down, and then she came out with another book. I can't remember the title. It's slipping my mind. Thursday, ATS News on Watts. There we go. Thank you, Angie. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. The whole situation was a really big mess. Nene T. Hey, Jennifer. Sometimes I like think to say hi to you guys in my head, and I don't know if I say it out loud or not, and then I might say hi twice. So ignore me if I do. Look, I'm only human. Okay, let's have a listen to this. And then we're going to get into the letter from Chris to Dylan. And then there was also another entry that I was supposed to show the night we did the interview, that we can look at that too, because I showed you guys that Sweet Child of Mine at the end of the book reading, I think it was the other night.
It's
terrible.
So how many times did you actually go see him in prison?
3 times. I've spent a total of 15 hours with him in person.
Oh, thank you, Jamie.
I didn't even know how many phone calls. He was calling me 3 times a week. Then it went down to 2 times. And then as the book was done, he would call once a week. I talked to him.
I'm curious if that's true. So Jamie, thank you, Jamie, got us the titles of the books. It's The Murders of Christopher Watts and The Many Faces of Christopher Watts. But guess what? She actually has another one. And it's a book of like 10 different cases. I don't remember the name of this, but I remember looking at it when it came out, and Chris Watts is one of the stories in that book. Okay.
it'll be 2 weeks tomorrow was my last conversation with him. And then the mini letters that he sent me. The letters were 10, 12 pages long, where he just kind of poured things out to me, as you see, just reading the book. And he wrote the Ruzeks a letter because he's never apologized to them. And actually, one thing that I did not put in the book, I can tell you that not long before the book was released, I said to him, Christopher, the letters that you sent me that you had wrote to Shanann and the girls, there's nowhere in those letters that you have said you're sorry. And I think that says something, and that bothers me, and I think it will bother the public. I think the public will see that and question that. And he's like, I didn't say I was sorry. And I said, no, you haven't. And I think you need to. So,
okay, so I have this book somewhere. I'm trying to pull up in the background, like the actual letter that was published in the book. I'll pull up an article from Daily Mail we'll have a look at before we go on to our next letter. Let's keep listening for a little bit.
And he said, well, I'll write them in a story and you can insert it into a letter. I thought that was just interesting because does that mean he's not sorry?
That's very interesting. Yeah, it is. That's also curious. I did a video. I have.
Thank you, Jamie.
It's kind of a, my rules to live by for life, and
that is it.
The first one is there's two types of people in the world. First, those that are humble, and those that are about to be. And but later on down the list is, it's amazing how far the words "I'm sorry" can go.
That's for sure.
And people just don't always realize that. And, I've never spoken to the Ruzeks. I've had a couple of them. I think the son, when we put some things up on video and he didn't like them, would make comments or something to that effect. But, it's nothing personal. It's the facts. It's public. It's a public story. People want to know about it. We're not out here speculating on these outrageous theories that people are, coming up with. It's like, these are the facts. I deal in reality.
Right.
And the reality is, like you said, the fact that he didn't say I'm sorry. I'm not a.
Okay, so let's take a second and go over here. That, there's more to that, and we can always go back to it if you guys want. But I want to show you. This comes from the Daily Mail article about the book and the letters that were put in there. Look at this picture. Oh, my God. Chris Watts confessed he murdered his daughters, Bella and Celeste, twice in a letter to Cheryln Cadle. Now, remember, in his letter, he claimed he killed them twice. Watts describes how he attempted to smother his daughters before strangling Shanann, but following the murder, the girls woke up bruised and traumatized. I mean, how horrific. And to think he's told so many different stories, this version is God Almighty. Hey, Grandma Sherry. Good to see you. I know, it haunts me too, Teacup. It really does. It's like oh my God. The letter was sent to Cheryln Cadle, who struck up a correspondence with Watts after he was jailed. Now, this was taken when Tammy Lee and, was it Coder? I can't remember, when they flew out and interviewed him again, right? Letters from Christopher. There's the book. The first one. That's what it looked like. Here's a clip of the letter. Let's see how much they show us. Well, this part says, August 13th, morning of, I went to the girls' room first. Before Shanann and I had our argument, I went to Bella's room, then Cece's room, and used a pillow from their bed. That's why the cause of death was smothering. After I left Cece's room, then I climbed back in bed with Shanann and our argument ensued. After Shanann had passed, Bella and Cece woke back up. I'm not sure how they woke back up, but they did. It makes the act that much worse knowing I went to their rooms first and knowing I still took their lives at the location. There's Cheryln, Shanann. Oh my God. 15 weeks. The baby is the size of an orange. My God. It's freaking sad. Hey, Alicia. I hope you're doing good. Oh, wait. Watts had previously claimed it was a spontaneous outburst of rage that led him to kill his wife, who was 15 weeks pregnant with their son, Nico, and daughter, so he could be with his mistress of 2 months, his co-worker, Nicole Kessinger. Dear Cheryln, hello again. I hope you're doing well. It's been awesome being able to talk with you on the phone, but I know the 15-minute time limit is a pain. Sometimes I can get right back on the phone, but right now there are other inmates that like to be on the phone as much as I do, so I respect their time as well. How's your dad doing? I hope you're able to see him. I've been praying on that every day. Yes, that petition really blew my mind that people really want to make me suffer like that. Even if they did, remember, we talked about this with Dylan and Jamie the other day, and by ourselves too. Even if they did ever take my pictures, they can't take my memories. An inmate from another institution wrote me about that subject and said, if they take your pictures, they would need to take the pictures from the other 500 to 600 people that have their family pictures up in their cell convicted of the same act. Do I feel like I should be incarcerated for the act I committed? I most definitely think so. Do I imagine myself ever doing anything like this or be a danger to society? I most definitely think not. If I were to ever be released, I know I would go straight to a ministry and start going to jails and prisons to help inmates. If God led me to be ordained, I would go that route as well, possibly. I'm not sure if I want this in the book or if God does, but here are the things I left out. August 12th, when I finished putting the girls to bed, I walked away and said, that's the last time I'm going to be tucking my babies in. I knew what was going to happen, and I did nothing to stop it. Something to the entire world, because it's covered with letters. I had literally taken my kids to a birthday party, played water balloons, had an amazing time, sang songs all the way home, gave them a bath, a shower, ate dinner, read bedtime stories, and sang bedtime songs, and still nothing registered. When Shanann had to be somewhere, I always enjoyed taking the girls places or playing outside because it was our opportunity to bond. And still, even the night before, I couldn't stop myself from what I knew would be what I knew would occur the next morning. So we read the part about leaving Cece's room, getting back in bed with Shanann. After Shanann passed, they woke back up. I'm not sure how they woke back up, but they did. It makes the act that much worse knowing I went to their rooms first and knowing I still took their lives at the location. The reason the medical examiner found Oxycontin in Shanann's system is because I gave it to her. I thought it would be easier to be with Nicole if Shanann wasn't pregnant. If the world knew all of that, I'm pretty sure a few petitions would be started to have me put to death, or I would be killed in prison if I ever got transferred from this institution. So there he is talking about, being in fear of being killed in prison. Hey, Amber. Okay, we're getting ready to read a few letters that have never been put out, but these we're just kind of going back because one of the letters was from Cheryln. And it's interesting because she clearly says I'll show you again after this. So Chris's letter to Cheryln continues. I'm not sure if this was a spiritual visit, but I had a dream Cece was dancing next to the chair in my cell. When she was dancing, one of my folders on the chair started moving, and I thought she was in trouble. So I said, watch out, get away, watch out. Then I woke up. I'm hoping she comes back. I hope everyone comes to visit me. I'm trying to see if I can clear my head better before I go to sleep to help. I like the passage you sent, the Bible passage. I couldn't discern between good spirits and evil spirits, and that lodged me into a deep pit. And then look at those babies. They're so precious. I mean, all of them are precious. Shanann, too. Watts squeezed Celeste's body through an 8-inch hatch in one of the oil tankers. I couldn't believe how, this is a quote from him, I couldn't believe how easily it was to just drop through the hole and let her go. I heard the splash as she hit the oil. See, this is the reason why I find this man to be so absolutely evil. He is evil, Roberta. Yes, that's what I'm saying. I mean, deep pit. He talks about that in scripture a lot. Oh, interesting, Jamie. I don't know, man. I have no doubt that he is guilty. My doubts come in when it comes to other people. Hey, Dad. Okay. Got just a couple slides left. This is a video from a drone in the area. You can see the sheet out there. Oh, Nicole. Kessinger reportedly has been placed in witness protection and is now living in a different state under a new identity. This picture right here has always, is there something on the counter right there? And it almost looks like he has something in his hand. I'm really curious if they were using, because I've always wondered if there was something on the counter. It won't let me zoom, but yeah, it truly does look. If you can zoom on your phone, zoom. And there she is again. I mean, I'm not saying she's ugly, but she's nowhere near as beautiful as Shanann was. I'm sorry, but that's just how I feel about it. Okay. So now let's go to this letter from Dylan, which he said was February of 2021. But first, let me just show you one more time the letter from Cheryln for people who came in late. You can see here, she says, I feel your life still holds some purpose. If you allow, I'm sure God can still use you to make a difference in other people's lives. I would love to tell your story of redemption, and I think in the long run it can help you. I think also it would help your family and Shanann's family for the truth to be totally told. Now, we saw in that letter, he said, I don't know if I want this in the book. So, hold on just one second. Actually, I got to find our next thing. Okay, so this is the letter from Chris to Dylan in February of 2021. Why are the initials like what they are? DHE, and then he signs it C something. Do you know, Jamie? NK is very plain, in my opinion. He clearly has a type. Nicole wasn't all that. Just a reflection on the counter. These two boring, unimpressive people didn't do drugs. LOL, in some ways, they're too damn simple. Maybe not, but I don't know. I don't know. I've always wondered about that. Nowhere close to Shanann. Kimberly, I wish I could have zoomed. It's to the right of the sink. If you can Google to find that picture of NK. She has a name change, witness protect. That's what's been put out. And it was even made public that she had this court date for the name change, but the details weren't put out. I heard she's still in Colorado. Chris claims to have never done drugs of any kind. Jamie, I got another question. Did you ever hear DHE? And then the other one is C something. I'll tell you when we get to it. But did you ever hear, did Dylan ever hear anything about, Thrive supplements or the mixed drinks that, you could write this down, or if you know the answer, the drinks that supposedly Chris was taking? She changed her name, but not through witness protection. Okay, thank you, Amber. I do remember when the court date was made public that she actually did it. Hey, Bieber. I've always thought some kind of drugs could be involved. I've seen white stuff on the bathroom counter. Thank you, Swampside Chick. Looks like something white. Okay. The Lord is working in mighty ways in both our lives. He may not understand what he is doing at times, but his wisdom has no depth that is searchable. The way God took you to a different environment may have been to handle the Krista situation. Being there, more info was available to you than being here. I'm sorry she turned out to be someone you couldn't trust. She seemed genuine from the beginning, but that turned out to be a front at the end. Why do people put in the time and energy to be deceptive? What? What? Why do people put in the time and energy to be deceptive? Great question. That is a great question. It doesn't bear fruit to holiness, but fruit to corruption. It makes the prison smell of rottenness, and twice the son of hell than the Pharisees. I pray that she will see the light and walk away from the darkness that has led her to desire fame over truth. The world can be a terrible influencer if we let its spell overcome us. That is why Jesus overcame the world, so that we could have the confidence and strength to stand in victory because of his. The full soul loathes a honeycomb, but to the hungry soul, every bitter thing is sweet. Proverbs 27:7. So more from Proverbs. Calling the kettle black. Say what about 85 more times and you'll get to where I am, Alex. Probably the same way you annihilated your family. Yeah. Hey, real Pocahontas. Going out into the world full means that anything that seems sweet you can defer away because the fullness of Christ dwells within you. Going out into the world empty means that all things presented by the enemy seem sweet and you partake much ever being hungry. The world will after harden its neck at reproof, but you and I know that the present earth is reserved for judgment, and that only with our eyes shall we see the reward of the wicked. That is why a reproof enters more into a wise man than 100 stripes into a fool. Proverbs 17:10. Nobody sees through life without correction. In the end, it's about who gives heed to that correction and who gives ear to righteousness. Pharaoh did not, and he perished in the waters of the Red Sea. Moses smote the rock for water instead of speaking to it, for that he could not pass over the Jordan into the promised land. He didn't gripe and complain. He did bring it up to the Lord, but God told him not to speak on it again. Moses accepted the punishment and enlisted Joshua as his successor. The spirit that was upon Moses laid upon Joshua. Moses went upon the mountain and saw his promised land only with his eyes. But as Moses was soon thereafter gathered to the land, he saw the people of Israel go across the possession, and he looked down from the sanctuary of the Lord. Moses regarded reproof and was rewarded for it as an intercessor among the people, a leader in humility, part of the transfiguration, and a final witness in Revelation. Following the decrees of God and his correction prosper us. I pray that the legal situation will rule in your favor. You've been held in an earthly prison for too long without much action. Time served is my prayer for you, brother, because God will not let his righteous servants be forgotten. Good things are on the horizon, and our judgment will shine as the noonday. A kid is flying a kite on the beach. It's an overcast day, and the kite disappears into a cloud. A man walks by and asks the kid, "How do you know the kite is still there?" The kid responds, "Every once in a while, I feel a tug and I know it's still there." People might question our path or the decisions we make every day, not seeing what is going on above the clouds. God lives above the clouds, and his righteousness extends to the heavens. We feel that tug of the heart when Jesus tells us this way. We can only pray that others can fly their hearts above the clouds so that they can feel the pull of Jesus as they stand upon the earth. God bless you, brother. Stay strong and ever present in the fight against the evil that attacks. Then it's CPM. Better than another Proverbs thing. So yeah, I'm curious what his initials mean, because the other ones he signs with his signature, and it does appear like, looks like the same writing, of course. Let me show you guys. We're going to look at some other ones. Now, these were supposed to be in, so Dylan sent me these, and he said that we could show them when I interviewed them. But these, I believe, were supposed to be in the devotional Page 1 of 5. Yeah, see, so this is the one we read the other day, Sweet Child of Mine, which just the first part, I'll reread to you guys in case you missed it. I just put the initials in the comments. Oh, okay. Thank you, Jamie. What does that mean, though? Bieber, I'm so happy to see you. I've been thinking about you. I believe she was considered to be a protective witness, but not in the program. Yeah, Crystal, that's true. Christopher Paul Moses, his biblical nickname. Wow, okay. That is very interesting. That makes sense, but wow. Wow, wow, wow. He's one of those people who thinks that if they quote enough scripture and talk a whole lot of Jesus, that their God will forgive them. A holy ass kisser. Well, Jamie says that he really speaks through his scripture, and she believes that's why they wanted, whoever the third-party representative is, wanted the book down as well, because I said that too. She's like, yeah, that's exactly. That if you read through what he writes about the Bible and stuff, that you can kind of come to your own conclusions. Do y'all think his relationship with NK was longer than 2 months? I would love to know, because she surely Googled them long before. You know, that's a fact. There are so many things that do not add up. And even the DA came out and said that is not a typo, because at first they tried to say it was a typo. Those are the nicknames they use. Okay, Jamie, thank you. That makes sense. He's a holy ass kicker because he found the jailhouse Jesus. The devil knows all the scriptures too. That's the truth. Just saying, he's still not being honest. Well, you know what? I don't know that he ever will. If we think about it, think about this. He tells one story to, like, on the first day that he admits anything. And this is that Shanann killed the kids, and that's why he killed her, right? Then we have another version of events in Cadle's book. Then we have another version of events when Tammy and Amber, was it Coder that went there? I can't remember who else went. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. It's just been too long. That's when they went out to Wisconsin and got this confession. And why did they even waste their time or taxpayer dollars to do that after the case was closed? What would be the point in that? You know what I mean? So then yet another version of events to Dylan. So we've got several versions of events. Coder, Tammy, and Baumhover. Thank you, Amber. Interesting. So in one breath, Chris is quoting the Bible, and in the next, he's telling a woman through email that he wants her panties, and she'll have to wring them out once he's finished. Wait, what? That's where Danielle comes in. The devil was once an angel. Okay, so just quickly, let me show you this one. Just the first part, and then we'll go to the other one. The blessings of this life, it's called Sweet Child of Mine, written in May of 2020. The blessings of this life, and I did read this at the end of the book reading, but just in case you didn't hear it, this one was very interesting to me. He says, the blessings of this life I have taken for granted. The miraculous I have deemed ordinary. The supernatural I have received as natural. The birth of new life into my life I perceived as an everyday part of life. Those blessings grew up as a green olive tree in my house with a sparkle in their eye and a smile that would shine in the darkest room. Energy would last for days on end. Sometimes there are questions too. They even picked out a book about a train just to hear me say choo choo. Their kisses I thought would last forever, hugs that would melt my heart. Never in a million years did I think we would be apart. Oh, sweet child of mine, those blessings are gone now, taken at the blink of an eye. And I think to myself what happened as I wonder about the wild night. It was till you called me, oh Lord, that out of a dead slumber I arose. When you touched me, I cannot understand that word right there. Quicken, I don't know. When you touch me, you something me, making through concrete grow a rose. I know love now, love that I never knew before, love that I wish I would have shown because you dwell at my core. My hope springs eternal because my hope is in you. I will see those blessings again because I have given my life to you. You are my eternal Father, and I yearn for the day I hear you say, welcome home, sweet child of mine. Now, this part here, though, those blessings are gone now, taken at the blink of an eye, and I think to myself, what happened as I wonder about the wild night? It wasn't until you called me out of a dead slumber I arose. What do you mean by that, Chris? You were there. You know what happened. Why? Like, I don't know. It is heartbreaking. It really is. And it explains why he might have not wanted the devotional to come out. Because I think he maybe said too much in it. What do you mean, Cray Cray? This is a letter from Chris. Sadly, this one, or not a letter, this is an entry for the devotional. Sadly, this one, while heartbreaking, is mild compared to others. Oh my God. Okay. So let's try to check out this one. I couldn't read these on my phone because it was so small. In the sermon on the something. Okay, this was written June of 2020, and it's called Mystery of the Kingdom of Heaven. Plucking and crabbing. I can't read some of his writing. Jesus explained some interesting teachings as adultery. You have heard that it was said to those of old, you shall not commit adultery. But I say to you that whoever looks at a woman to lust for her has already committed adultery with her in his heart. If your right eye causes you to something, pluck it out and cast it from you. For it is more profitable for you that one of your members permits that fire your whole body to be something into hell. And if your right hand causes you to lie, something, cut it off and cast it from you. For it is more profitable for you that one of your members perish than your whole body to be cast into hell. This is definitely some figurative speech from Jesus talking about plucking your right eye out and severing your right hand. But can you think of any literal examples when this happened? Let's look. In Judges 16, Samson meets a woman named Delilah who was pleasing to his eye. A certain group of people, but I can't read the word. I can't read his letters, but the blank, it starts with a P, are working night and day to lure Samson into a trap to afflict him, but cannot bend him due to strength given by God. The Philistines get to Delilah and entice her to betray Samson for 1,100 pieces of silver. After 3 attempts at seducing Samson to tell her what may be used to bind him, she something him to the heart, so much that his soul is vexed. He tells her everything, and his strength leaves him, and the Philistines are able to bind him, throw him into prison, and pluck his eyes out. You see, Samson lived a somewhat reckless and or unhinged lifestyle, and his eye for Delilah got him into some serious trouble. From the beginning, Samson was dedicated under God, having a visit, I don't know, that no razor should come upon his bend. When he told Delilah his strength would depart from him, his hair was shaved, and he was given a gift from God into the hand of a foreign woman. His lustful eye caused him to betray God, and the Lord deported him. So see, this one is about cheating. Yeah, Jamie, it's really interesting, and it makes perfect sense to what happened, why he would, I don't know. I think that I don't know, maybe it's easier for him to speak through scripture like this. Hey, Melly Lynn. Vintage art. Jamie said that something with the font like went wrong. That was accidental, but do you want me to read for you? It's so hard to see it. Let me keep going. Samson was made a grinder in prison, but with his eyes being plucked out, he started to see again, not physically, but the way God wanted him to. And the hair on his head began to grow again after it was shaven by a judge, it says. When the Philistines were searching for something, it's so hard to read all of this. They called Samson. Maybe I should post it on the community tab so some of you guys can see it, because I know I'm not making great sense. Samson had a young boy lead him to the pillars that supported the temple, where he called out to the Lord, "O Lord God, remember me, I pray. Strengthen me, I pray. Just this once, O God, that I may with one blow take vengeance on the Philistines for my 2 eyes." And Samson braced himself and pushed with all his might, and the temple fell with all the loads of people in it. The light that was in Samson turned to darkness when he met Delilah. Wow. And caused his heart to turn from God to her. The light of the eye rejoices the heart, and the darkness in the eye just rejoiced. But heart that had turned away from God. So when he met Delilah, it caused his heart to turn from God. Samson turned to darkness when he met Delilah. Interesting. What does God allow to happen? Samson's eyes are plucked out, so it signifies plucking the darkness out of his heart by removing his lustful eye. With those eyes gone, he can finally see the way God wants him to see, with an eye that is full of light, seeing in the spirit and not in the natural. The light that is now in him from God now rejoices the heart, because his whole body is light due to his sinful eye being plucked out. What about cutting off the hand that causes you to sin? Let's go to Samuel 11 and 12, where the story of King David and Bathsheba is described. One day, King David was walking along the roof of his house, and behold, a beautiful woman bathing. He inquired about her, and it was told that she was Bathsheba, the wife of Uriah or something. He sent for her and slept with her, and she conceived. David instructs the leader of his army to set her husband in the forefront of the hottest battle and retreat. Hold on. Uriah. Thank you, Torres. I'm surprised he didn't run a compound in Utah. Amber, I'm so curious what you think of some of these, just because it's like he's speaking about a woman making someone evil. It's like, I don't know. I'm sorry, but no one can make you do something you don't want to do. But that's just my opinion. But still, it's interesting. That he may be struck down and die. Uriah was set before valiant men, where some of the servants of David fell, along with Uriah. So when Bathsheba heard of her husband's death, she mourned for him. And when her mourning was over, she went to David's house and became his wife, and born him a son. But this was something in the Lord's sight. David had despised the commandment of the Lord to do evil in his sight, and killed Uriah with the sword, so that Bathsheba could be his wife. For this transgression, the sword never departed from David's house, and adversity was raised up from his own house. Plus the child that was born was from Bathsheba, was stricken with an illness and died. Do you see what transpired here? David lusted with his eye, but he didn't pluck it out. The burning passion in his eye translated to his members, his hands. David was a righteous king, but that doesn't mean he was infallible. We are to rule over sin. And unfortunately, in this situation, David did not rule over sin. And then he's like written something really small I can't read. But let sin rule over him. He saw forbidden fruit, and it was pleasing to his eyes. So he extended his hand, grabbed it, and took a bite. It's the fall in the garden, and over again refer to Dylan's something. He says refer to this other part of the book. The end didn't stop at taking a bite of forbidden fruit. It was the decree of David, the head of David, what come down, and Uriah with the sword, a hand that was used righteously and now become an instrument of unrighteousness. He moved a boundary. He allowed the lust in his eye to lead to sexual immorality, which led to murder. Once you move one boundary, the boundaries get easier to move the next time until you come to a point that there is no boundary. Wow. What David gained through his instruments of unrighteousness would be taken away, plus what he already had. The hand that he used to rule over his house would be cut off, because we got 2 pages left, but I'm really, really curious what you guys think. He let his brain think and take the lead. Yep. All Watts is doing is taking excerpts from the Bible and comparing NK and himself to Samson and Delilah. Like most prisoners who find God in prison, it's a pathetic attempt to forgive himself. He's playing games with us all like it's a puzzle we need to figure out. Damn, Chris, with a mad face. He's the Riddler of nonsense lies. I'll never understand why no one has asked him straight out. So frustrating. Contrary to current internet rumors, I am not in touch with Chris and I am not his girlfriend. Heard that a few times in the last couple of days. So now, though, that we see this, it kind of does like explain maybe why the book was pulled. Not a religious person, but there is a song, David and Bathsheba by Brown Bird, that's worth listening to. Yes, 100. I believe NK is involved, but he chose to do what he did. NK needs to answer for her culpability. The Church of Chris Watson, Latter-day Saints. Okay. So now, his house would be raised up against himself. The hand used by David to rule over his enemies would be cut off. For now, the enemy will yield their sword against him, and the hand that was used to grab the forbidden fruit to fornicate with Bathsheba and bring forth a son would be cut off. The life of his head, his son, would die. David himself, the life of his hand, his son would die. David himself did not die on account of this sin, but he endured terrible affliction. He went outside God's provisions and took something he wasn't meant to have. For to everyone who has more will be given, and he will have abundance. But from him who does not have, even what he has will be taken away. Matthew 25:29. God would have given David more, but he sought what he did not have, so even what he had was taken away. Peaceful house, ruling over his enemies, and a son. There are consequences to our actions and repercussions for our sins. A lustful eye is darkness and makes the whole body dark. Your members only follow while your spirit is telling them. So if you are full of darkness, how great is that darkness? The fiery gate of Jesus, The fiery gift. Jesus convicts us of sin and leads us down a path we have not been. He walked among us, knowing the darkness in our hearts, so that we may be infused by his glorious light. He healed those that were blind. He healed those with a withered hand, and he can heal you too. Pluck out your sinful eyes for a set of spiritual eyes. Cut off your instruments of unrighteousness so that Jesus can make them an extension of himself. Truly, he is our strength. Truly, he is our something. Truly, we were made in his image, and he sees us in himself. And if he sees us in himself, then we can with confidence see ourselves in him. Don't have double vision to where you're double-minded. Ask the great physician to give you spiritual LASIK so that your eye could be single and controllably focused on him. 20/20 vision is only achieved through the power of Christ, and a strong hand is the same. A hand becomes withered when it reaches for forbidden fruit. The fruit is rotten, so it makes your hand the same. A withered hand can't grip the plow to work in God's field. A withered hand can't sow seed in preparation for the harvest. A withered hand is poisoned by the world, but God wants you to reach for him of his garment. He wants you to come to him saying, you can make me whole. The one who come to seek that which was lost wants you to come running like a prodigal, and the Father will meet you there. It's time to pluck out those dead eyes and to cut off that withered hand, for only those without blemish covered in the blood of Jesus Christ can enter into the kingdom of heaven. God's plan, Chris Watts. Mystery of the Kingdom of Heaven. So remember, it was going to be called God's Plan. This was one of the entries in it. That is just crazy to me. I don't know. It's interesting to read. Yeah, he's kind of excusing his action through scripture. Yeah, and talking pretty blatantly about what happened, right? Like this part. A hand becomes withered when it reaches for forbidden fruit. The fruit is rotten, so it makes your hand the same. A withered hand can't grip the plow to work in God's field. A withered hand can't sow seed in preparation for the harvest. A withered hand is poisoned by the world, but God wants you to reach for the hem of his garment. He wants you to come to him saying, you can make me whole. Pluck your eyes out, Chris. Yeah, God doesn't like excuses. Amber, I can't wait to talk to you later to see what you think, because Amber and I had talked, before I ever talked to Dylan, wondering why the book came down. And did you see, Amber, when Dylan was on, I shared these. Hold on, let me show you guys. 1 second. These are the letters from Amazon. So after the book was published, which, Chris agreed to, and his family had even talked to Dylan about, after the book was published, they get a notification that it had to be taken down and that a third-party representative, here's the notification they got. Hello, we've received a notice from a third party claiming that the distribution of the following title you submitted for sale through Amazon may not be properly authorized by the appropriate rights holder. God's Plan, 40-Day Devotional by Dylan Tallman. As a result, we've suspended sales of this title. We will consider reinstatement if you provide valid documentation proving you have rights to publish this title, or claimant contacts us and confirms you have the necessary rights to sell the disputed book on Amazon. Below is the contact information of the third party who claims you infringed its rights. We expect that you'll compensate this party appropriately for any copies sold. And then it says Chris Watts, and the email is representative@chriswatts@gmail.com. I sent a copy of the 40-day to Chris straight from Amazon. Yes, Amber. And then seeing that his entries really are talking about the crime, I'm not surprised it came down, but I'm curious, if that was all him, if that was him and maybe a girlfriend or his family, or you know what I mean. And then this person emailed with, Jamie and Dylan. I think it was Jamie though, but I'm not 100%. Jamie can let us know. And they said, you can remove his intellectual property you do not own, as you have no rights to sell it. He told Amazon to remove it. It was removed for rework and can be published without his intellectual property. It was Chris Watts' decision. They have his form of contact. It will continue to be disputed by him. You have no current documentation that states he wanted that portion of the book published on Amazon. Other people who have worked hard on the book, as you have said, can have it without his IP. So, like, they were going back and forth because Dylan was like, wait a minute. He said it was okay. He also showed me these texts, but they're confusing to read. But I guess it was his mom and Cindy. And Cindy was like, Chris doesn't know anything about a third-party representative. So what the heck is the truth here? And who is, what happened, man? I don't think he did drugs. He was tested at work. He likes to keep people guessing. Oh, good night, MK. You did send him a copy. Interesting. Someone told him he sent too much. It was me emailing with him under the email that Dylan and I share. Yeah. Hey, Aunt Diane. He's still not so sorrowful. I know, Melly. I know. So, yeah, I know that we've gotten a few questions during the live that for Dylan, but if anybody thinks of any others, you can put them in the chat. He has agreed to answer more or whatever, and he has tons of more. He has the whole book and tons of other letters and things like that. But I did really appreciate them sharing with me all of that stuff because, yeah, it just proved kind of what they were saying. Let's go over here for just a second, though, before I let you guys go. I want to see this with you guys. He's so transparent. Yeah. Honestly, Dylan's work was better than Chris's, so removing him wasn't a bad thing. Hey, Michelle. I don't think we will ever know the truth. Yeah. Night, Deadly Angel. Hey, Kathy. Yeah, I hope you're doing okay, too. His mom and Ronnie. So this is just drone footage of the scene. Let me actually go back to this. So we'll be back. I'm going to come on tomorrow to talk about some other cases. I probably will do like a mix match of a bunch of different things. And then that'll give us like 2 days at least to come up with any questions that we might have. There's the sheet in the red circle. I mean, look, I don't care how evil NK could have been, old, comparing her to women in the Bible that were bad and saying all these things in his little writings about that. There is no excuse, and there is no one who can make you put your children inside those batteries. There was an 8-inch hole at the top. And I don't know, because I've never seen the true autopsy results, but on Dr. Phil, Dr. Phil went hard at Nicole Kessinger. He had like a 3-part series podcast, and the final part was like really being hard on her. And at that time, he interviewed Shanann's family, who also said they thought she was involved. He was really coming at her for the Google searches, for this, for that, all that stuff. And during that podcast, he said that one of the girls had a broken collarbone. And I mean, that would make sense. So it's just absolutely vicious and evil. And there is no excuse. And I don't care. I don't know. I'm sorry, but I feel like that those kind of things should never, ever, ever be forgiven or forgotten. That's not a mistake that you change and you do better and you grow. Like people who have been addicts or maybe thieves or, whatever. This is something that can never be forgiven or forgotten. And there are still people, including Chris's own family, who probably miss those girls so much. And Shanann's family that miss all of them so much. So there is I don't care how much you go to the Bible. I don't care if you go to church every damn day. You are still as evil as they come in my eyes. That's just how I feel. You don't like Dr. Phil, Aunt Cray? I love Dr. Phil. I especially used to. I haven't, watched him in a while because I don't have cable anymore. speak their truth. Black Eagle says she's a floozy, not a killer. I think it was not CW with the tanks, says Adrian. Hey, Jessica. He did say she was into dark stuff. Well, he even kind of reiterated that to Cheryln. I mean, I could find that stuff. It's been a long time, so I don't remember exactly what it was. But yeah, he kind of... Dylan's mom communicated with Ronnie about the book. Yep. Whoever put them in the tanks definitely could have broken bones, and I think they could have been alive, in my opinion. I don't think it was Chris, but I don't know who it was, says Amber. Abella says there were no broken bones on the autopsies. That came only from Phil. Well, here's the thing. Their full autopsies have never to this day been released. Now, some people claim they have them, but I don't know how. And that somehow when Chris made his deal, part of his deal was that they would never be released. Yep. The autopsies we have are not complete. Many pages are sealed. Wasn't that Amber? Am I correct about that? That was like something specific he wanted, was for that stuff not to be made public? Ooh, Kimberly, I'll have to check him out because, yeah, I love Dr. Phil. Oh, I mean, I used to, like I said. It's been a while, but... okay. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying that you're wrong, though, Abellis. I just know that there's a possibility that we don't know everything. How old would the 3 babies be today? So, let's see. 2018, that's 6 years ago. They were 3 and 4. Hold on. So how old would that make them? If they were 3 and 4, 6 years ago in August, then in August they would be 9 and 10, and Nico would be 5 or 6. I mean, can you imagine? And you never know how they could have changed the world. You really don't. Yes, oddly enough. Yeah, that is odd. Why would he request, why would that be what he was concerned about? You know, what was he trying to keep from anybody knowing? Why did he tell Cheryln Cadle that he gave Shanann Oxy if that wasn't in her system? He said the reason it was in her system, in the letter that we looked at earlier to Cheryln, the reason it was in her system because I gave it to her. But it wasn't, right? At least we can see a lot of the girls' autopsies with Maddie Soto. They wouldn't show anything. Am I wrong about that? Well, you're not wrong, but it's state to state. So in Florida, where Maddie's at, that's the rules there. You can't find out anything about their autopsies. Now, we know in Colorado, usually you can. Remember what happened with Gannon and his autopsy photos? Now they're not sharing photos, but yeah, it does. I think we know very little about what happened, and what we do know is convoluted. I agree. Let me see if there was anything else. Oh, yeah. So I want to talk about a few different cases, but Amber had sent me this article from Daybell. Murderer Chad Daybell's Idaho home finds a buyer after less than a week, despite the listing's ominous warning. Can we look at that together before we go? And then there was some Stephen Stern stuff. He got his court date changed, and he's waived, his right to appear at all of the hearings up until court. So if you guys were just here to talk Watts, I think we're going to kind of wrap that up now. I'm just going to hang out with you guys for a few minutes and shoot the shit or whatever. But yeah, if you have any questions, please leave them down below. If you're interested in the book, I did put it in the description. I also put my playlist in the description, and I think that was it. But yeah, I tried to make sure that the links were already there. And let me drop some links. Amber's, Bindi, Melissa. Wonder where my name is. I miss Nay. I watched your live replay yesterday, and I still cry for Shanann and the girls. Followed the case from day one. They feel like family. Rest in peace, Shanann, Bella, and Cece. You know what? I know what you mean by that, though, because they felt that way to me too. I mean, not necessarily like family, but I felt like I knew them personally because this case was kind of different, right? We had a closer look into their daily lives than we do with other cases because Shanann was live a lot and she shared a lot of her personal stuff, and yeah, it's just different. I mentioned Teresa. I want to share that. I'm going to share Punksy and Nay and Lori's link, and then we'll check this out and I'll let you guys go. Can Dylan elaborate on what Cindy and Ronnie did or said? Did they contact? So here's the thing. Now, he can really elaborate on what they said, but we already know that it supposedly was a third-party representative who is unknown. Oh, Teresa, Jinx. Or not Jinx, I don't know what you call that. I was just talking about you and dropped your link. And I miss you too. So Jinx, I'm losing my mind. I just came into Watts. I know, listen, I would love for you to join me sometime with Amber and Jen and Melissa, or, a few of you guys and kind of talk about it from the beginning, since I just read through these books and we got a lot of the entries into Chris's devotional letters and different things like that, just things we hadn't seen before. You should, make sure you check those out. They're interesting. Okay. That's so funny that you came in right after that. Okay, and then I didn't finish yet. I wanted to drop Lori and Nay, and then we're going to look at this thing about Chad Daybell. Oh, also, the Watts home sold, and now it's up for sale again. Let me see if I can get a little article about that too, and we'll look at those two, and then I'll let you guys go. Watts family. I could not live in one of these houses. I definitely could not live in the Watts home. I could not live in the Daybell home. I swear. I mean, I would feel like I was going to be possessed or something in any of them, to be honest. There's some dark energy surrounding the Watts case and the Daybell case. For you, I can do it. But Watts is infuriating. Oh, I love you and thank you. And yeah, I would love that so much. I know it is infuriating though. Well, we're done talking Watts right now, but I wanted to just look at these really quick. Let's see. Ooh, this article came out in April. Let's start with the Watts home since we just talked Watts, and then we'll go into Daybell, and then we can go. I'll let you guys go. Did I get Lori, though? I love the Watts house, but hates the yard. Has a pending sale. Hey, Scott H. Has anyone been listening to the Women Talking About Murder comedy podcast that parodies true crime content? No, I haven't heard of that. That sounds really cool. Really funny. I should watch. All of us should check it out. They're mocking us. I'll never understand how anybody could live in a home where someone was murdered or committed suicide. The Barbie picture. Crystal, I don't know. I think that Shanann took that first and then he reshared it, but well, it's here, but you know what, Teresa? I'll just message you the things that I showed today because it was early. I went through a lot of it earlier and then some the other day, but yeah, I'll just send it to you when I get off here so you can check it out. Okay, so the house where Chris Watts killed his wife is for sale at a markup. This was April 2024. The infamous Colorado home where Chris Watts killed his pregnant wife is up for sale at a steep markup. The 5-bedroom, 4-bathroom house in Frederick was listed Wednesday for $775,000. That's about a 29.2% increase from when it last sold in November 2022 for $600,000. So you guys say it's pending. The last time property went on the market, real estate appraiser Randall Bell told Realtor.com that selling a home like this is tough. It's a gruesome crime, and it's not where a lot of people want to go home and relax with that kind of history. Yeah, said Bell, CEO of Landmark Research Group, which specializes in real estate affected by tragedies or disasters. The unwanted notoriety is annoying, and it can go on for years. Well, can you imagine? I mean, I remember people, they used to make TikToks all the time of driving by the house. It was a really beautiful home. 6,200 square feet. That's like 6 times the size of my house. I have a little house, you know, but it's fine for us. But that's freaking huge, dude. 6,200. Sorry, you guys. I got to get my gummies out. If I can get it open, which is so annoying. There we go. Wow. Oh my gosh. While the listing boasts new exterior paint and the views of our lovely Colorado mountains, it fails to mention the murders that captivated the nation. Wow. The Watts paid $399,000, and so now it's up to, what was it, $775? Damn. But so crammed in next to neighbors. Yeah, that's what it says, Scott. Sharing is caring. Oh, the murders happened 2 days after my dog died. I started watching everything about the case to keep my mind off things. I'm so sorry, Abellis. Well, I remember when, you know, his interview on the porch. I think so many of us like have a really vivid memory of that because he looked so guilty and so awkward. Leah says, I see tells from Chris Watts in his writings, Bible quotes, mannerisms, and stuff he's saying to other people. And in my opinion, he's going to eventually roll on his accomplices. Okay, so let's look at this and then I'll let you guys go. Murderer Chad Daybell's Idaho home finds a buyer after less than a week, despite the listing's ominous warning. What is that hanging from the tree? The Idaho home where convicted murderer Chad Daybell once lived has found a buyer after just days on the market. The listing didn't shy away from the property's tragic past, and apparently the buyer wasn't scared away, but quickly put in an offer, in fact. The home hit the market June 24th for a few hours, then just as quickly was removed. On June 27th, the property reappeared with an asking price of $350,000. Now the home is pending, as in sale status. The details are yet to be disclosed, including the final price and the buyer's identity. The listing agent declined to comment. In June, Chad was sentenced to death for the murders of Tammy, JJ, and Ty Lee. The murders were part of a doomsday plot. Remember, 2 children were found on this property. Listen to what it says. The 4-bedroom, 1.5, 1,800 square foot house with lots of potential, as the listing notes, is in Rexburg, Idaho. It features 3.75 acres, a large shop and other small farm buildings, and a dry pasture that's fenced. The listing also comes with an ominous warning. There is a very tragic situation with this home. Please have your realtor investigate for you. The eerie listing photos only add to the property's painful past. There are devastating reminders of the dwelling's previous life remain. Child's toys, children's bedrooms, and a play horse. Yeah, but that's not from these kids, but... Now it's up to the buyer to decide. The owner could tear it down, which that's happened in other ones. We saw that happen with the Idaho 4 house. Really wish it would have stayed up until trial. Just, you know, but that's just my opinion. So what do you guys think? What human being would want that place? I know. Kimberly, some people think he didn't have accomplices. I think Windows security. Okay. I'm of the opinion that it's possible he could have, because there are a lot of things that don't add up to me. And in my opinion, my number one suspect for that is Nicole, but with the damaging the SIM card and the ping and the Google searches and the interview, just, I don't know. There are so many things that don't set right with me with her. And also, why has she never reappeared? Why has she was searching about Amber Fry and how much money she made on her book. So I'm just curious. It's the property where the kids were buried. Yes, I know, Lariah, but it said something about like the hobby horse inside, or whatever they're called. There's not enough sage in the world for me to live there. Chris wasn't smart enough to do this alone. Ooh, what did Teacup say? Let me see. The Daybell house seems scarier. Yeah, well, I think there's definitely some demons in there. When we were house hunting, I always asked our realtor if anyone had died there, or jokingly if it was haunted. Look, I don't blame you for that, and I truly think both. I'm curious what you guys think. Do you guys think that any kind of supernatural stuff could play a part in these murders, Lori's or Chris's? Because, there are talks of witchcraft and demons and all that stuff in both. And yeah, I'm really curious because, look, I definitely believe that there is evil, and I definitely believe that spirits can remain on earth even after they're gone, but I'm not sure how I feel about all the rest. So I'm curious what you guys think. Would you reappear if you were Nicole? I would not. Neat. I don't know about now, but I feel like at first I would have, because I would say, look, I have nothing to do with this, and I'm willing to help however I can for this investigation. I definitely wouldn't be deleting messages, breaking parts of my phone, deleting this, all that, like just all the kind of weird shit she did. Searching about Amber Fry. Is anyone else looking into the Sebastian Rogers case? The mom and stepfather acting super weird, and I feel like not enough attention is being brought to the case. Please. Crystal, there are a lot of people covering that. I've decided I'm not going to cover it. If there was a real update from police, I would. But just for a couple of reasons. One's a personal reason, because one's a personal reason. Where it's just a little close in certain ways to me in my personal life, and then in my family and stuff like that. And then otherwise, because there are so many people covering it. I know Amber's covering it though, so go check out her channel. Let me drop it again. And she doesn't do like every single day stream on it. She covers it like once every 2 weeks or something, but she is covering the updates and stuff. Oh, thank you, Jessica. I'm glad that you're here. Well, yeah. It's not even on Sebastian. I know. Oh, God. Yeah. It's gotten really bad in some places. It's really sad. I don't know, man. I don't know what causes that to happen with certain cases. There's a lot of negativity and drama and stuff surrounding it. And yeah, she is Roro. Hey, Debbie Doodles. I know, Jamie. Seriously, though, Nicole has no friends that came forward to speak. Well, let me just say, I'll say it like this, because I don't want anything to be twisted. I always have to be so careful, because people love to do that. The reason I say that it is too close to my personal life is I have a family member who knows some of the people involved, and that's as far as I'll go with. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, so I think about my family member that does know some of the people involved, if they were to, because they had messaged me directly in the beginning, that he was missing and stuff. And I think about them going on YouTube and watching some of the stuff that's out there, tagged with his name, and it's horrific to even think about. So I really hope they're not, but yeah. But anyways, you guys, no old neighbors. I know, it's so bizarre. It says in Ephesians 6:12, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness. Jamie, I wonder that. Like, I thought about that the other night. Like, is she watching? I would. Like, we talk about this when we do jail calls, because we get jail calls from Letitia Stout, and we've been going through those for a long time. And I always think about the people on those calls. I'm like, if I was on one of these calls, I know for sure I'd be listening back. So I feel like if I was, connected in any way like that and being talked about, I'd be watching too. So demons influence people and even possess people sometimes. Some people live solitary lives and only have close people. Uh-oh. And maybe she's the third party rep. Maybe. Thank you, Jessica. Well, you know what? Those are people who are members. Make sure that you opt in to a membership. Let me see if I can give any more away yet before we go. I'm going to let you. It's getting keep us answering you guys being open to answer anything, truly anything that I've asked. So I do appreciate that. Come on, YouTube. Let me see here. My signal's probably going to start messing up anyways. Oh, thank you, Lariah. I love your name, by the way. Ro, maybe. I can't say goodbye. I get on here and I ramble for 25 minutes telling y'all bye. All right, let me see something here. Make sure you're opted in to win a membership. And if I'm not able to do it now, then really soon I should be able to do it again. They give us some to give away. Let's see. Yeah. I love you back, Roro, and I appreciate you so much. I really, really do. You don't know how much you mean to me. Okay, let me do it one more time. Yay! Welcome to the new members, and make sure that you use emojis that only members can use. If you look in your text box, there's a smiley face, and there's some cute ones. Awesome. All right, you guys, I'm going to let you go because it's raining, and yeah, I got to get all my stuff and get inside. But thank you for being here, and I appreciate you guys so much, and I hope you have a really great night, and I will see you tomorrow. We're going to be talking about other things tomorrow, so I hope that you'll be there, and you're so welcome. I love and appreciate you guys. Thank you to the mods, and yeah, let me not say goodbye 50,000 more times, and I'll see you soon. Bye.